Mano a mano. Trojans versus the baby bears. Big brother versus the redheaded stepchild.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network, your first listen every day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube, wherever you are going to download this podcast, it's going to be free, and I'm going to appreciate your support. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Let me ask you a question. How many schools out there can say that on years that end in an even number, they get to play both of their rivals on back-to-back weeks? How many schools have two real, true rivals? USC is one of those unique schools that have two true rivals. In 2 weeks, USC plays Notre Dame. We'll talk about them next week. This week, it's all about the Victory Bell. USC has to get that back. USC and UCLA are going to meet this Saturday at the Rose Bowl in the 94th version of the nation's most famous crosstown rivalry. And if you're not going to the game, you better be going to the game. You can still stay home and watch it on NBC. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the distance between both campuses, 12 miles. That's it. That's it. 12 miles between two major universities. I mean, without traffic, you can just jump on the 10 freeway and you can get there in 10 to 15 minutes. I said without traffic. Driving in LA is a fight. It is a dogfight. When these two fan bases get to hang out together on the golf course in the Arroyo Seco at the Rose Bowl all day long, getting lubed up, ready for the game, the 7:30 p.m. kickoff. Fights have been known to break out in the tailgating area out there on the golf course. So my question is, what's this game going to be like? Is it going to be a fight? How will the fight go? Man on man, in the trenches. Is it going to be a close game? USC opened as a 6-point favorite. I'm just wondering, is it going to be that tight of a game? Is it going to come down to a last-second field goal, 2-point conversion? Or is USC just going to take all that pent-up frustration from, I don't know, how many one-possession games have they lost this year? And are they just going to unleash holy hell? I'm hoping. I want to lean towards the gates of Hades opening up on the Bruins. I mean, that would just be perfect. But this is one of those games where USC's strength on offense is going to get challenged. It's going to get challenged by by UCLA's strength on defense. USC runs the ball very well. UCLA's strength on defense, stopping the run. So I think this is where last year's game is going to come into play. I need anybody, in fact, everybody who was on USC's roster, who was on the field last year in that game, they need to reach inside their gym bag, go inside their locker, wherever they're keeping it, and they need to go find that testicular fortitude that they left in their locker room when they didn't put up a fight at all. You weren't sure, if you don't remember, last year in the Coliseum, USC lost 38-20. Not sure what it was, but I know it was embarrassing. Last year, against a terrible defense, I'm talking about USC's, the Bruins put up 38 points. This year, UCLA can't score. They haven't all year. They're scoring just a tick under 19 points a game. This year, Lincoln Riley finally has a defense that he can lean into, but for whatever reason, his team can't score 30 points on a consistent basis. When you look at the stats, they're right at 30 points per game, but it's not consistent. So here's what we're looking at. The Bruins allow 27 points per game this season. USC's defense, they're even better. They're allowing 22 points. If USC is going to win this game, and I think they're going to, because I feel much better after the win against Nebraska, especially now that I know USC and Riley are willing to commit to the run game. Hopefully that wasn't just a one-game aberration. When they want to run the ball, I know that they can, and they can do it against a good run defense like they did against Nebraska. But here's the thing, and I said it on yesterday's episode of Locked on USC, so my everyday listeners, you already heard this. If I think what this might come down to is if UCLA decides to load the box and stop the run, is Jaden ready to shoulder the load? I said it. Let's give credit where credit is due. UCLA has a really good run defense. USC's offense this season, they're averaging 438 yards per game. For the first 9 games, Miller Moss, who, by the way, he still ranks second in the Big Ten Conference in passing yards per game, 284. Last week in his debut as USC starting quarterback, Jaden Maiava, he threw for 259 yards, 3 touchdowns. He ran for another. He had a good game. But let's just be honest. Let's just be objective. I'm not knocking, right? Things have gotten really tribal when it comes to USC starting quarterback right now. I'm just calling it objectively as it was. He was lucky more than he was good. There was a few chances there where it was like, oh gosh. Eesh. So I think I'm wondering if UCLA's game plan is to make Jaden make good decisions, load up the box, stop the run to the best of their ability, and see if Jaden's ready to throw it downfield and not make any mistakes. Is he going to protect the ball? In other words, we don't want to give the Bruins short fields, or we definitely don't want whoever's playing quarterback, and I'm assuming it's going to be Jaden Maiava, throwing it to the other team. No pick sixes. Last week against Nebraska, again, another impotent offense, more so than UCLA. That offense was able to score just 13 points. And let's not forget, 3 of those points were the result of a fumble. So, and then he also had that pick 6. If this game is close, it's going to be a dogfight in the trenches. That's where this game's going to get won or lost. Now, what Jaden brings to the field, okay? He's going to be asked to use his skills to beat the Bruins downfield. His ability to run the ball helps open up the passing game downfield a little bit. Again, because if you're putting more guys in the box, that opens up the field. So I need to know, if, let's say it comes down to that trench warfare, is USC physical enough to win at the line of scrimmage on offense? They've been tested by LSU. They won that contest. They were tested by Michigan. They came up short. They were tested by Penn State. They came up short. They were tested by Minnesota. They came up short. They were tested by Washington. Rinse, repeat. They came up short. So the answer is yes. They can. And here's the thing. USC's offense has been on a roll lately. In the last 3 games, they've been putting up, 440 yards per game. The Bruins, defensively, they're allowing less than 300 yards in their last 3. So their defense is good. For what it's worth, in fact, UCLA right now, they're probably playing their best defense of the season. Even in the loss to Washington last weekend, they picked the ball off twice. Now do you understand why I'm saying the game plan might be, but put the load on Jaden's shoulders. First off, this, and I touched on yesterday's episode, I need to make sure this team is ready to play. They need to come out fired up. I do not want to see what happened last year. Watching USC lose to UCLA is bad enough. Watching them not even give a crap or put forth an effort, unacceptable. I will tell you, meet me behind the bike racks. We have something to talk about. I know you can get the team fired up. Kyle Ford, the guy who was tripping, spent a year over there at UCLA. He could tell the team everything that the Bruins said about USC after the game. In fact, he should make some stuff up just for the hell of it. Put some stuff up on the bulletin board. So-and-so said this. Remember what John McKay said. There's nothing worse than losing to UCLA, and there's nothing better than beating Notre Dame. USC fans, listen up. You need to download the Roy app. You've heard me talk about Roy this season and how they're revolutionizing the NIL industry. Roy allows you, the fan, to have a say in who gets the NIL money. And here's what I absolutely love about Roy. You get your money back if that player transfers. Roy is helping us keep our team intact, and it's actually good for the game long term. How about Woody Mark's effort last week against Nebraska, right? Playing with the flu, he had his career best game, 146 yards on the ground. He became USC's first 1,000-yard rusher since Ronald Jones back in 2017. You can show your support for Woody by depositing a little appreciation onto that player's account. To do that, download the Roy app. You can see what the logo looks like. You're looking at it if you're watching on YouTube, or go to joinroy.com. Every contribution counts. 10, 20 bucks, 50 bucks. It all adds up. And it's going to help your favorite players stay put. Join me as we show some love for Woody. Download the Roy app or go to joinroy.com today. Use promo code LOCKEDON. Every athlete from every team is there. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Go to joinroy.com for full details. Roy, support the players. Change the game. I'm talking about it. It's rivalry week. USC versus UCLA at the Rose Bowl. When was the last time you stepped out? Have you been to a game yet? Perfect time. You got two left. You got USC, UCLA. You got USC, Notre Dame at the Coliseum. You know where you can get your tickets? At Game Time. Game Time has this feature called Game Time Picks. Yeah. It makes getting tickets for your favorite live event really easy. This feature, really cool. Filters out all the fluff. It's only going to show you really incredible deals on great seats, so you're not going to waste your time. And you can actually see what the view is going to look like before you check out by using the view from your seat feature. That's my favorite feature. And what are you worried about? There's no risk involved. They have a money back, well, not money back guarantee, but they do guarantee that if you find a ticket in the same section and row for less, they're going to credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Who are the MVPs of USC's team this year? Offense, defense? I think the answer on offense is obvious. Just talked about him. Woody Marks is the runaway winner, rim shot, ba-dum-bum. One thing is undeniable. We like to nitpick and offer constructive criticism around here. But when Lincoln Riley goes to the transfer portal for a running back, he and his coaching staff, they always seem to find the best one available, right? It started with Travis Dye. He was close to a 1,000-yard rusher before his injury in that Colorado game. He probably would have gotten there. But I'll tell you what, for me, the biggest contribution, in my opinion, it was in the locker room. I loved what he did on the field, but he is literally a brick. He is a brick in the foundation. A guy who understands what a good culture is all about. He was one of the guys who started to get that process going when he transferred to USC. Someplace he wanted to be out of high school. He finally got that opportunity. Then last year, they brought in Marshawn Lloyd from South Carolina. He showed exactly why USC wanted him out of high school. They just didn't have the opportunity to get him. They didn't have a chance. Not the way that team was put together with the coaching staff. Anyways, That was a long, long time ago. But Marshawn Lloyd, he did a phenomenal job. But I got to say, right now, Woody Marks, he is the best of the three. It's not even a question. At least for me, it's not a question. I know Woody. I know everybody likes Travis Dye. He's a fan favorite. Again, certainly offer as many accolades as I could. But I think Woody is the best of the bunch. It's his humility, how humble he is. Yet he just comes to work. He's not a talker. He just, packs up his Toy Story lunchbox, gets the job done. When he came over from Mississippi State, we all knew he could catch the ball in the backfield. By the way, he is the nation's leader in receptions in consecutive games. What is it, 55, 56 games? I'll be shocked if he doesn't have at least one or two in the next two games as well. But I had no idea, zero idea, that he could run with the power like he does between the tackles. I don't know if he's ever been asked to do it. He can. It's impressive. I mean, he's not the biggest running back, but he's big enough. He's got NFL size. So he can run between the tackles. He's quick enough to get to the edge and turn the corner. And while he doesn't have that, I'm going to leave you in my dust type of speed, he's more than fast enough. What I really like about it, what impresses me is his ability to get through the hole, make himself skinny, and then just put his foot in the ground and make someone miss, pick up that extra yardage. And he's averaging almost 6 yards a carry this year. Having a solid year. Trojans fans, okay, I need to get on board with this. You've got 2 more games with Woody because I doubt that he's going to play in the bowl game if USC qualifies. He'll probably opt out to get ready for the NFL or join one of those senior all-star games. Make sure you are taking the time to appreciate what Woody has accomplished. Because it's special. It really is. He's a fun player to watch, fun player to talk to. Really good guy. Raised right. On the other side of the ball, the choice isn't as easy, but for me, it was easy. Kamari Ramsey is making a challenge for it, but I'll tell you what, ever since he took home the Holiday Bowl MVP award, Jalen Smith has played like an All-American. Dude is a football player, period. Greedy Vance said it after the game against Nebraska. He doesn't understand why anybody throws at him. I mean, you look at his stats, they're not, the numbers just don't jump off the page at you. He's only being credited with 2 pass breakups. He doesn't get a lot of opportunity. He hasn't given up any touchdowns. He has 2 interceptions this year. He's only played 8 games. He's had a couple of injuries. Again, no touchdowns against. He's a physical player. 47 tackles at the cornerback spot. Pretty good. 30 of those by himself, open field tackles. He also has 4 tackles for loss. It's not very often that USC fans can say that their best player on defense is a cornerback. It just doesn't happen often. Adoree Jackson is in that group. Got to go back a little bit further than that. So when you think back to Jalen's time at USC, it's been a little bit of a rocky road, but he's turned himself into a really tough, physical, shutdown cornerback. By the way, on that note, Doug Belk gets some major props for unlocking Smith's talent at cornerback. And because of what Jalen has done this year, he's accepted an offer to play in the Reese's Senior Bowl. That's high praise. Maybe he is going to be an All-American. First team, second team, third team, honorable mention. So his position has always been cornerback. I'm not saying he can't play nickel, but Alex Grinch's scheme was terrible. And it just seemed like the players were always in the wrong position or they weren't ready to play. So for me, Woody Marks on offense is the MVP. Defense, Jalen Smith edges out Kamari Ramsey. The runner-ups got Mason Cobb having a really good year. Easton Mascarenas Arnold, really good year. And the guy we don't talk enough about, Gavin Meyer. Guy has really he's really solidified the interior of that defensive line, especially after Bale Alexander quit. So yeah, you want to make sure Gavin gets some props as well. And before I close out this segment, you know what? Let's talk about special teams real quickly. It's Eddie Traplisky, without a doubt. I know Mekhi Lemon has come on late with his kickoff returns, but it's Eddie Traplisky. Dude has a cannon for a leg. He's one of the Ray Guy semifinalists. I'm really hoping that Eddie wins the award. He flips the field. He can put the ball where he wants to. If he's kicking from midfield, he can drop it inside the 10. He'll drop it right where he wants it. I mean, if he's had a bad punt this year, I can't remember when it was. Let me know. Hit me up. Find the comment section. Tell me what you think. I love a great deal as much as the next guy. But I'll tell you what, I am not going to pretend to, I will never even try and pretend to be a Bruin fan just to save a few bucks. I hate to say, it has to be easy is what I'm saying. No hoops. Don't want to jump through any hoops. I don't want any BS. Make it easy. So when Mint Mobile says it was easy to get wireless for $15 a month with the purchase of a 3-month plan, I had somebody call them on it. Turns out it really is that easy. You can get Mint Mobile for $15 a month on their 3-month plan. In fact, the longest part of the process was the time that person spent on hold waiting to break up with their old provider. To get started, go to mintmobile.com/lockedoncollege. There you'll see that right now all 3-month plans are only $15 a month, including the unlimited plan. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan, and you can bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Find out how easy it is to switch to Mint Mobile and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new offer, you have to be a new customer. Your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month. Go to mintmobile.com/lockedoncollege. That's mintmobile.com/lockedoncollege. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/lockedoncollege. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. We don't talk about basketball often here. I want to talk about it more. I know a lot of you are like, no, just keep talking about football. Tough. Deal with it. We're going to talk about basketball for a few minutes. Stick around. Play along. Get to know your team. Unfortunately, this segment, we got to talk about the men's hoops team that lost to Cal the other night, 71-66. At Galen Center. The ACC beat the Big Ten in an old Pac-12 conference game. USC's oldest foe. It's just so weird saying that. USC in the Big Ten, Cal in the ACC. This was an out-of-conference game. Whatever. Cal has 9 transfers on their team this year. USC has 11. They are like two. They showed a list of the 5 teams that have the most transfers. Cal and USC were among those teams. The Trojans were a 7.5-point favorite at home. Going into the game, they were undefeated. Now they're 3-1. And in the game, they struggled all over the place. It wasn't an easy game to watch. The biggest challenge for USC right now is they don't have a true point guard. So they only had 10 assists. They made 25 shots. They do have a couple of guys who can handle the ball. Claude, Wesley Yates. Claude played a really strong all-around game. Although what's always been USC's biggest bugaboo? Missing free throws. He missed a couple with 2 minutes left in the game. USC was down by 2. I'm not going to say that's why they lost, but you'd rather be tied at the end of those free throws than not. I'm not going to say it was the key possession of the game. Nevertheless, down the stretch, you need to make your free throws. Again, Claude is not the reason why USC lost. The team lost because they couldn't play defense. They couldn't rebound. I like Yates when he has the ball. He's built like a really big 2. He's thick. He can handle contact. He can finish it in the lane. Or, if he doesn't finish, he can draw that contact and go to the charity stripe, either or. In that game against Cal, he played 16 minutes, scored 10 points. He had one of those 10 assists, and he also had 2 steals. I mentioned the team didn't really play defense. They really struggled rebounding the ball on the defensive side defensively. They play hard. The effort's there. They're just right now they're not a good defensive team. They don't match up well. In the first half, both teams, USC and Cal, they shot the ball pretty well. USC led 43-42 at halftime. They made 15 of 27 shots for 55%. They were 5 for 12 from three-point range, 8 for 10 from the free throw line. So it was the second half where things kind of went south. One of the USC's better players, his name is St. Thomas. He said after the game, quote, "Our problem isn't scoring the ball, but is guarding the ball." And he repeated that. Defense, defense, defense. You notice how he said that 3 times? Emphasis. Saint also said that the Bears were a lot more physical than they were. That made a difference. So USC's 3-1. They're going to play again Wednesday. They're hosting San Jose State. And then on Sunday, they're playing Grambling. So hopefully USC can improve to 4-1 and then to 5-1. So there's your hoops update. I'll keep you all updated on how the basketball season's going. And remember, once football season ends, we're going heavy. We're going to talk basketball, men and women, juju. I'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We're going to talk more about the USC-UCLA game. I will have some recruiting news. I think something's going to be happening, hopefully. We'll see. I want to talk about, I was given some inside information. So that's what we'll talk about when we talk about recruiting on the next episode. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.